For those of you who've joined early, the session is about to begin in a few minutes. Make yourself comfortable, probably grab a notepad and a cup of coffee maybe because we're going to have an interesting session today and it's going to be starting in a few minutes. So, meanwhile, I'm going to ask you for a quick little favor. This is more like a sound check, alright? If you can hear me loud and clear, just confirming. Use the chat window to say great or you can go ahead and leave a message to me if you can hear me loud and clear. Oh, thank you so much, Eddie. Thanks for the participation. I am able to see that the session is live and we will be starting off in a few minutes. We are all set. It seems like we've got a full house right here. Okay. Hi all, a very good afternoon. Thank you for having taken the time to have joined me in today's workshop. This is Jay, product expert from the AD Solutions team here at Manager. So the first things first, before I start into today's session, as regards to questions, if you're coming up with questions, feel free to make use of the chat window and shoot them right at me. Let me try and answer as many questions as possible during the course of presentation, all right? And maybe if I miss out on one or two questions, do not worry at all. I'll take them towards the end of the session, okay? And when it comes to the session's recording, a copy of the recording can be shared with you. That shouldn't be a problem. All you'll have to do is just drop me a message with your registered email ID and I can have a copy emailed right into your inbox. Okay, we're all set and the topic for today's session is going to be empowering your IT help desk for Active Directory management. So, when you're an IT administrator, Active Directory and ITSM, Information Technology Service Management, both of it go hand in hand. So that's a given. And when you're using ADManager Plus day in, day out, you'll be using it for managing and reporting for Active Directory, all right? When it comes to your ServiceNow, you'll be spending a big chunk of your day responding to requests right there. So from this webinar, we intend to teach you something that's pretty simple and fundamental. We want to empower you, your IT help desk and you as well, so that you will no longer need to struggle toggling between multiple windows to get your AD management done. So the idea of today's session is to empower your help desk to get your AD management done right from a single console and that too from your ServiceNow. So most of you who've joined today must already be aware of the features in ADManager Plus. Your management capabilities, the way with which we help you to report. So fundamentally, guys at the AD Research Lab put together the integration that can actually help you out do 6 fundamental tasks in AD management. So that's going to be what we'll be talking about today. We are going to be discussing ServiceNow and ADManager Plus integration. All right, so let's start off today's session with the top 3 challenges any administrator faces. Okay, when it comes to the challenges that a ServiceNow administrator or an IT help desk administrator for that matter faces are these 3 challenges. One is pretty obvious. Day in, day out, you are required to do a lot of tasks. Say, for example, starting with things like user provisioning. All right. If that's the case, if you were to do it in the normal way using native tools, it's going to get a lot tedious. The reason being, you'll have to toggle between multiple windows. Yes. And the second point, yes, when it comes to data and its accuracy, there are always chances that you might go wrong. That's totally understandable. So we will be talking about how to get this solved. And thirdly, yes, on top of all the tools that we are handling, multiple consoles that we're toggling between, we wouldn't want yet another tool for password management. So top 3 challenges that any administrator faces, especially ServiceNow administrator faces, are here, and let's get into them one by one. The first challenge for the day. The first challenge is going to be the toggling that I was talking about. So navigating between multiple windows or multiple consoles is not just tedious, but then the time it takes, the effort with which you'll have to have your data transferred from one console to another, it's going to be grueling, right? So that's something that's what we want to answer through this workshop, all right? And when it comes to user provisioning, the second point that's written right here, the biggest challenge is having your users provisioned all the way in all of your places. Say for example, you have an hybrid environment, all right? You're running your Active Directory, you're running your Office 365, you also have Exchange, and added to that you also have Google Apps. So all of this, if you were to do it manually, one after the other, you're going to take a lot of time to get something as basic as user provisioning done, taking a lot of time. So we are giving you the option to have your users provisioned in a 360-degree approach, and all of that from the ServiceNow console. So all this long, if you were using ADManager Plus for user provisioning, you should already be aware of what benefits it offers. So now what we are doing is, with this integration, we are trying to get all those benefits transferred to you onto your ServiceNow console. So that's the idea. All right, so what's the next big disadvantage when it comes to native? When it comes to the native ways of provisioning users or performing any of your AD tasks, the error notifications, they are completely not available. So you would be totally stranded, having no clue as to what's actually happening. You would have no idea. Say for example, a server is down, your Exchange server is down. So in today's session, I'll be talking about that. Say for example, your Exchange server is down. You'd never know as to what went wrong unless you're prompted with that. So you'll be stranded midway if you're not given error messages. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to have a system that not just helps you to get your task done, but maybe if you have a roadblock in place, we'll help you to solve that as well. And how is that going to be possible? With error messages or error notifications. Right. So that's the second challenge we'll be solving. The next one is user provisioning and having standard naming formats right at the creation or right at the phase of user creation. So we are talking about standardized naming formats. We'll still go further and also talk about something that's a huge challenge that administrators face. So day in, day out, when you're provisioning multiple users, you must have this problem of handling duplicates. Say for example, you have a John Smith in your environment and there's somebody new joining into your organization with the same name. So at that point in time, you would have an issue of duplication, especially when it comes to your AD. Your SAM account name or your logo name has to be unique. That's a fundamental requirement. So to handle that, we also have a provision. So the first task is, the first challenge that we'll be solving today is the challenge of toggling between multiple windows to get your basic AD tasks done, and we'll be solving that with this specific integration today. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. So for something as basic as user provisioning, we've got these many consoles right here. So these are screenshots of different consoles. So you start off with your provisioning in AD, then you go into your Exchange or your Office 365 and have users provision there as well. And finally, like I told you, Google Apps. So to save all of this trouble, what we've done is we've got the 360-degree user provisioning in place. All right, and all of that is going to be possible from your ServiceNow console. Yes. Okay, the first challenge is going to be answered this way. The second one, like I told you, error-free data being transcribed into your ServiceNow directly. So the integration is that site that it's going to help you out, giving you all the features that you've already been using in your ADManager Plus when it comes to user provisioning, the basic user provisioning. All right, so there we'll help you face the challenge of having data being transcribed without error. Right. The third challenge is again password management. So we are going to give you the provision of having your user passwords reset right from the console. And here we will not just have your password reset. For example, your end user raises a request from the same console and gets his password reset. Not just that, but also when it comes to account unlocks, yes, that's supported as well. So two things that we'll be talking about is one, password resets being done from within the console, and number two is user accounts being unlocked. All right, so that's going to be the three top challenges that we'll be facing today. Okay, I've got a message saying that my audio is breaking. Just a quick confirmation, are you guys able to hear me loud and clear? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm able to see that it sounds better right now. Great. Okay, continuing back into the session. So what are we talking about? We're talking about solving challenges that ServiceNow administrators faces. And the three top challenges that I've listed today are these, and this integration, the ADManager Plus ServiceNow integration, is going to help you tackle these challenges. All right, so without any delay, let me quickly move on to the next slide where we're going to show you what's going to be the tasks that can be performed. All right, so here we go. Yes, so we're talking about the game-changing handshake, the ADManager Plus and ServiceNow integration. This integration is going to give you access to the 6 most fundamental AD management tasks. And what are they? User creation, unlocking locked out user accounts, enabling and disabling accounts, deleting user accounts or deprovisioning, and finally resetting passwords. So we have given the provision for administrators, not just the administrators, to do these tasks, but then if the administrator so wishes, he can have it assigned to an IT technician. So an IT technician can be assigned a specific role from where he can again perform all of these tasks, 6 tasks: creation, deletion or deprovisioning, unlocking, enabling, disabling, and reset. All right, when it comes to your end users, yes, they do not have direct access to all of this, but instead they can raise a request which is going to get forwarded to your administrator or your technician, and they are going to process it from their end. So we're going to be talking about all of this, the 6 top features or AD management actions that can be performed through this specific integration. Okay. So today, let's start off the session with the basic, the most fundamental, which is how to set up the ADManager Plus and ServiceNow with one simple tool that's going to help you out today, which is the ADManager plugin. And how we're going to access this? One quick moment, I'm going to show you how. Yes, so all you'll have to do is get to the ServiceNow store. All right, and from the ServiceNow store, we've got the application enlisted. You'll have to look for ADManager Plus for Active Directory Management. So this is the ServiceNow store, and we've got ADManager Plus right here on the home screen. So from here, all you'll have to do is just click on this, hit get, and key in your ServiceNow credentials. So what happens is, right after you key in your ServiceNow credentials and hit login, once you get back to your ServiceNow console, you will have the plugin installed and ready for you. Yes, do we have it? Yes, we do. So we've got the ADManager Plus plugin for ServiceNow right here. All right, setting this up is pretty simple, just a single step process. Get into ADManager Plus, setup. Make sure that both of these checkboxes are enabled. The first checkbox will give you the access to the menu that's a part of the ADManager Plus application. All right. The second checkbox is going to let your end users have access to the service catalog. The service catalog that's going to give them access to perform or raise requests for the 6 fundamental tasks that we're discussing today. So both of those checkboxes enabled. Key in your server name, your port details, and one quick tip: if your installation is a on-premise installation, make sure that you have your MID server in place. This is basically to ensure that there's communication established between your ServiceNow and your ADManager Plus. Alright, so you will have to have the MID server in place if your installation is on-premise. The installation is quick and pretty simple. You can have this specific server role installed from ServiceNow website, so it's going to be pretty simple. So here what I'm doing is I'm making use of a cloud instance. Alright, so I wouldn't be needing this. Next step, you will have to have your domain credentials installed or domain credentials keyed in. So here let me quickly key in my domain credentials. So this is going to be your ADManager Plus domain credential, the one that you use in your application. Okay, for clarity's sake, let me quickly show you what credentials. The one that you use in your domain settings, right, when you log in. Alright, so this specific credential that we're talking about is the one that's got to be keyed in right here. So your login name and your password, your authentication set, and hit submit. So your login is successful. The first step is done. So the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to get into the ServiceNow store. Alright, have this specific plugin installed in your ServiceNow console. Right after that, get into setup, enable both of these checkboxes, key in your server details. Once that's done, you can have your logon name from your ADManager Plus keyed in, and you can have the submit done. Alright, so the integration is successful. So we have successfully done the first step. The next thing, we'll have to go ahead and have the accounts, basically your IT administrator account having the provision to access the 6 basic tasks that we're talking about. So we'll have to have a role assigned to this specific IT administrator. All right. So here, let me quickly log in or impersonate as the IT administrator. So Able is going to be my administrator account. So now at this point in time, Able does not have access to ADManager Plus. That's basically because the administrator has not given access to Able. So what we're supposed to do is get into the admin role, impersonate as the system administrator, look for the specific user who you want to give access to. All right. So users, looking up for users. So Able is my IT administrator. So here, what I want to do is I want to give him access. Yes. So this specific provision right here gives me the option to give him or assign him the specific role. Clicking on edit and looking up for the fundamental role, which is the ITIL role, granting access to that. The next role that we'll have to assign is the, let me quickly toggle that sidebar off. Yes, the next role that we'll have to assign is the ADManager Plus role. So how we're going to do that? We are going to look for the application right here, which is ADManager Plus. Yes, we've got that, and I'm going to quickly run this filter. Just one quick moment. Yes, we've got the filter run. So basically these are the roles that help the application ServiceNow contact with ADManager Plus to get your tasks done. The first and fundamental role, which is the admin role. All right, ADManager Plus underscore admin. So this is going to be the mandatory role that's got to be assigned to any technician who has to be given access to those 6 tasks. So yes, I'm adding that role as well and hitting save. So what have I done right now? I've ideally got into Abel's account and have granted him access to perform the AD management tasks. All right, and how did I do that? I got the role, which is the ITIL role installed, and also the ADManager Plus admin role configured for this specific user. So now I've got this user promoted into an ITIL who's got access for AD management. All right. So the next basic step that I'll have to make sure is giving access to my end users. All right. So yes. So that is going to be basically a part of the system administrator's role, and that's going to be the service catalog that we are going to be customizing. Service catalog. Yes. So at this point in time, the end user's dashboard looks as simple and fundamental like this. So now I'd want to add ADManager Plus to this specific console. The dashboard view, click on plus, search for, yes, we've got Active Directory Management listed on top. So this is the ADManager add-on that we're talking about. We are going ahead and adding it on top. Are we done right here? Yes, we are. So we have got the ADManager Plus add-on right on top. So henceforth, any of the end user who wants to raise a request for the management tasks will be able to access it right from this console. Okay, let me quickly get back to the presentation. Yes, so what have we done right here? We've successfully set up the integration. The first phase of it is done. What did I do? I installed the plugin. I set up the ADManager Plus integration with the domain credentials. The next step was assigning the role to my ITIL technician, where I promoted Abu. I gave him access to ADManager Plus using the specific role that I looked up for, and I added it to his kitty. Then I went further and enabled the service catalog dash for my end user access. So my fundamentals are in place. The next thing that we'll have to do is get right into today's tasks. So let me quickly start off with the first task for the day, which is user provisioning. Okay. So during the introduction, I gave you enough details as to what are the toils that an administrator faces when it comes to having users provisioned. If you're to use native tools, again, it's going to be tedious, multiple windows being switched, but now we've got the integration in place. So we are ideally importing all the features as regards to user creation that's offered by ADManager Plus right into our ServiceNow console. All right, let me quickly start off with user creation. I'm looking for ADManager. Yes, I've got ADManager right here. Setup is done. The first task for the day is user creation. Okay, so let me quickly show you how to get this done. So let's take an example of the IT department. So my intention right here is to create a user for the IT department. So what I'm planning to do right here is planning to import the template that's already been configured in my ADManager Plus, the user creation template. So we've got the IT user accounts right here. So in a while, I'll be explaining as to what's the benefit of having a user creation template already pre-populated or pre-created. All right. So we've got just the basic fields right here, which is the first name, the last name. All right. So let me quickly key in a name. So what I'm planning to do right here is I'm planning to have a user onboarded who's going to be Bradley Copper. I'm setting the password that meets the complexity requirements. Yes, just three simple fields: my first name, my last name, and my password. Alright, these are optional fields right here. So what are we doing right here is keeping the task of user creation simple and fundamental with just three attributes: the first name, last name, and password. And the killer step is to rightly choose the template that will help me pre-populate details that are pertaining to this specific task that I'm doing here. I'm planning to have an account for this specific user called as Bradley Cooper, who's got to be a part of the IT department. So I've got the IT user accounts template in place. All right, let me quickly submit that. Okay, so this is a notification that you get when your template has a specific attribute set as mandatory. Quickly checking a template that does not have a mandation, which is the IT accounts template. Now my user provisioning should be successful if I'm not wrong. Yes. So we've got Bradley Cooper in place. So the simple task of just having my basic details keyed in has got me a user provisioned in not just ADManager Plus, but then I also have a user in Office 365. So we are talking about a 360-degree user provisioning, the same feature that's offered in your ADManager Plus transferred to your ServiceNow. So now let's quickly switch to ADManager Plus to see if Bradley is in place. Yes, so we've successfully got Bradley onboarded into our console. So let me quickly show you as to why these templates are going to give you that killer advantage. So what did we do? We got into the ServiceNow console and just keyed in three fundamental attributes. One, the first name, number two, the last name, and we also keyed in the password. But what we can see from here is we've got attributes like the description pre-populated, the container, the department to which Bradley has to be put, which is the IT department pre-populated, all right? And from the accounts tab, you'll be able to see his group membership also being pre-specified. Believe me, yes, we've got that as well. We've got the groups of which Bradley has to be a part of because he's a member of the IT department pre-populated. Yes, all the IT groups in place. Hitting OK. So the department attribute is filled out as the IT, information and technology, and there's more. Even the manager attribute is filled out as IT admin USA. So how was all of this possible? So that's the question that you must be having right now. So all we did was simply get into this module right here that gave me access to creating a user. All right. And all I had to do was just enter the fundamental details, which is the first name, the last name, the password, and select the specific template for which I wanted my user to be provisioned. So user creation templates are going to give you that killer advantage that I'm talking about. So where do you find user creation templates in ADManager? Pretty simple. Under AD management, all right, since it's a user creation task that we're talking about, a user management task that we're talking about, we've got it listed right here, user creation templates. So what could have probably taken you a lot of time, having your details keyed in one after the other. For user provisioning, if you were to do it using your ADUC, you would have ideally gone ahead, keyed in one detail after the other, things like the description, things like the manager attribute, things like your group membership specifically, all of that keyed in one after the other. All right. And not just that, when it comes to the provisioning that we're talking about, it would have just happened in your AD, but then not in your Office 365 or in your Exchange. But with the template that we used, which is the IT accounts template, we had the user provision simultaneously in Office 365 as well. All right, like you can see right here. So how was this possible? From the AD management tab, when you get to the user creation templates, we've got a set of pre-created templates, or you can choose to create your own template, which is a simple, easy task. Just create, hit create, and have your template created. So what's the use case behind having templates created? Pretty simple and straightforward. So what you can do is you can have templates created for different departments. Say for example, you can have templates created for your HR department, your IT, your marketing, sales, finance, so on and so forth. And why do we create these templates? Just to ensure that you have all of the data or all of the details and attributes pertaining to a specific department pre-populated. So one time you have those details entered in a specific template, all right, and have those data being incorporated every single time a account is being created with that specific template. So yes, so we were talking about the user templates for the IT accounts. Let me quickly click on that and show you how it was possible. So this brings us to the IT accounts templates. Alright, so before I proceed further with the user creation templates explaining, any questions so far? Have I been clear all this long? Oh great, thanks for the confirmation. Thank you, Andrew. So proceeding further, we are talking about user creation templates. Alright, so here we are talking about a specific user creation template for the IT department. Alright, from the example that I showed you, the user who I got just provisioned a while back, who was Bradley, who got provisioned into the IT department with an account in Office 365 as well. It was all possible because I had this specific template right here, a user creation template for provisioning new user accounts into the IT department. So this is the fundamental layout view that gives you access to have your data pre-configured. Say for example, let me quickly show you how. Here we have the description attribute pre-populated. So if I were to create a template for the finance department, all I'll have to do is simply key in finance. And the next time when I use this template, the description is already going to be filled as finance, right? Okay, so let me not change that. Yes, the description is IT technician. Likewise, the container right here says IT department. I can choose to alter the container and have my organizational unit preset based on my requirement, which is the department, here the IT department. So when it comes to 360-degree user provisioning, yes, we've got the Office 365 integration done in this specific template. I've made sure that all users who are created using this template are created in Office 365 without directory sync. So I can also choose to have directory sync enabled. That's an option. And from the same template, I can choose to assign licenses right at one go. All right. So this is the benefit of having a template in place. So instead of having multiple consoles, having Office 365 users provisioned separately, you can have them provisioned from one go, from one template, by having this configuration in place. So how is this going to be possible? You will have to have your Office 365 credentials keyed into your admin tab. So let me quickly open another instance to show you how that's done. So we're talking about having a 360-degree user provisioning in your Office 365, in your Exchange, in your Google Apps, all of that. All right. Now we're discussing about Office 365. So from the admin console right here, under the settings tab, we've got Office 365. All you'll have to do is key in your Office 365 username, specify the details pertaining to your Office 365 account, the credentials, select the required domain and hit update. But then there's one note that you'll have to make. When you're having this Office 365 integration, you'll have to ensure that the Azure AD module is installed. So that's one requirement. Okay, so that's as regards to your Office 365 integration. Likewise, you can have your Google Apps integrated as well. So why are we doing all of this? We're doing all of this just to make sure that the provisioning is 360-degree, and with just one console, I'm having all of these accounts provisioned. Yes, let me quickly switch to the accounts tab. Alright, so here I've got my membership pre-populated. So since it's the IT department, what I've done is I've pre-specified groups that are pertaining to the IT department and I've had them in place. So that's done. Alright, from the contacts tab, I can have my manager attribute pre-specified. So all the users who are going to be provisioned with this specific template into the IT department are going to have IT admin USA as their manager, right? So that's as regards to the basic layout view, the 360-degree provisioning. There's more to it. The next big advantage of using a template is creation rules. Let me quickly get onto that so that we are done with the layout view. So from the creation rules that we have as a part of the user creation templates, all this long the template was just basic and it was good enough to have just your IT accounts provision, but then it wasn't intelligent. So to make it intelligent, you can have a creation rule in place. Pretty simple and straightforward. The creation rules work this way. There are two parts to it, all right? One is the condition part, and number two is the value that gets assigned right after the condition is met. So we've got the template configured with required details for the IT department. Say for example, there's a case where you have a trainee who is going to be a part of the IT department. So that's one case that we're talking about. So based on a specific attribute, which is the title attribute, you can have that set as a condition. And when that condition is met, all right, you can have specific values assigned. Okay, let me give you a clear example right now so that you can, have this specific module understood better. So we provision Bradley using this specific template, and we did not mention his title during the provisioning. So that means Bradley is going to be a part of the IT departments. That's all. So he had all of his data like the group membership into different IT departments pre-specified. All right. Here, since it's the trainee that we're talking about, what I've done is I've set the member of or the group membership to just the primary groups, just the domain users group and the trainees group. So with this same template, let me provision another user who satisfies this specific condition and show you the difference. So here, let me quickly hit save. The template is already saved. For clarity's sake, let me search for Bradley and show you. So Bradley had membership as a part of these specific groups right here, the groups that were pertaining to the IT department. And this was possible because of the template and the layout view that we made use of. The next task that we're going to be discussing is having a condition in place, which is a creation rule that I showed you a while back. So we set a specific creation rule for the trainees, all right? So let me quickly get back to my ServiceNow console. Here, what I'm trying to do is create another user who again is going to be a part of the IT department, but then is getting onboarded as a trainee. Why are we discussing this? Because we're trying to have role-based templates or templates that are specific to a specific role. It's the IT department for which we are creating. So we are trying to have role-based user provisioning done right after a condition is met. So let me quickly create a trainee. Arnie is going to be a trainee into my system. He is getting into the IT department. So the template that I've chosen is the IT accounts templates, and the condition that I'm specifying, which is the title, is going to be trainee. All right. So the only difference right here is I've specified the title as trainee. And why am I doing this? Because I had a user creation rule in my template that said if the title is trainee, my department or my group membership has to be restricted just to two basic groups, which is the domain users and the trainees group. All right. So let me quickly go on and key in the password that meets the complexity. So I'm done with the password. Let me hit submit. So user provisioning is successful. Yes. So Arnie is successfully a part of the system. Let me quickly show you as to what Arnie's group membership is. I use the same template. If the condition were not to be satisfied, Arnie should have been part of all the IT groups. He's a trainee, but then he would have got inappropriate access to all of those groups. All right. So I just looked up for Arnie, and let me quickly move on to the accounts tab from where I can see his group membership. He should have limited group membership. Yes. So the template where I configured the creation rule has successfully got in place and restricted the membership for Arnie to just these two basic groups, which is the domain users group and the trainees group. So we've successfully not just made use of a template, but then also made use of something called as the creation rule. AD management. This was possible because we used a user creation template under AD management, and we had a condition in place which was a user creation rule for the IT accounts department. Alright, so how was this possible? Because of the creation rule. Yes, so likewise you can have multiple creation rule sets. So for this example I've taken trainee as the value that's got to be met and title as the condition. The corresponding value that got assigned was the group membership. Alright, so we're done with the basic task of user provisioning. So the first task for the day, which is user provisioning, is done. Okay, so what more? So the next thing that we'll be talking about is an end user approach. So we were talking about users resetting their password. So resetting is one management action that we are giving the end users access to. All they'll have to do is just raise a request. All right, switching to an end user. Let's say Carla. All right. So now that the service catalog is enabled, all right, we'll be able to figure out how to get this done from here. Service catalog. Yes, we've got Active Directory Management. So now we are trying to reset password for Carla. So Carla basically got her password expired, or she wants to have a password reset. So what she's got to do is get into the service catalog, search for Active Directory Management, click on that. Alright, so here she's got a provision to raise a ticket. So all of these management tasks, and reset password is the task that she wants to raise a ticket for. Clicking on reset password. So she is trying to have her password reset, right? Looking up for Carla. Yes, we've got Carla in place. She's a part of the IT department. She wants a password to be reset. Alright. So all she's got to do is hit submit. So what's going to happen is Carla is going to raise a ticket for a password reset. Hitting submit, it says your request has been successfully submitted to the IT team. So the next task is for the IT administrator to take a look at this specific password reset ticket that's been raised by Carla and have the reset done. So let me quickly impersonate as the IT administrator. So Abel was my IT administrator. So during the start, I had promoted Abel to be an IT administrator, giving him access to the ADManager Plus role. So switching as Abel. So now what should have happened is Abel should have got a request, and all requests can be found from the incidents module right here. We're talking about a user password reset request. So yes, so we've got a request from Carla. What I've done is from the incidents tab, I've opened the request that have come. Here we've got a password reset request from Carla. Let me quickly click on that and show you. Yes, so the request has been raised by Carla, and how can you know that? Quickly scrolling down, we are able to see the activity status. So this is not just a direct self-service password reset. Carla had raised a ticket, and it's being viewed by this specific administrator, or this specific IT technician who's got the administrator role in ADManager Plus. All right. So he's got the provision to view the ticket for password reset that's raised by Carla. The next thing is pretty simple and straightforward. He's got to reset the password on behalf of Carla. So from the form context menu that's right here, right click on that and hit AD password reset. So one thing that you'll have to notice is the values get automatically fetched. Yes, the username is already fetched. The password that Carla had keyed in from her console is also fetched, and finally all that the administrator or all that the IT technician has to do is check for the authenticity, select the user and hit submit. So you will have a success message, yes. So we've got a stated message that says the password has been reset or it's been successfully modified. Alright, so user password reset done and dusted. So how was this possible? Pretty simple. Carla had raised a request for a password request, a password change request from her service catalog, alright, using the ADManager Plus add-in that we've given a while back, alright. The administrator or the IT technician got that specific ticket into his instance tab from where he got that action performed. Pretty simple, straightforward, done. What's the next task that we'll be discussing? User password reset is done. Let's take another case of user account unlocking. Okay, let me impersonate as another user. Say for example, we've got Adela. Adela is the HR manager of the specific department, and she wants to unlock a user account. So she's got a request for a user account unlock. So she is getting that request processed on behalf of that specific user. So what's Adela got to do? Pretty simple. She's got to look for the service catalog, and from the service catalog, she's got to get into the AD management or Active Directory management from AD Manager and raise a request for account unlock. So say for example, Adela, the HR manager, manages this specific account called as John Williams. Yes, so we've got John William, and John Williams account is locked out. So what can be done is a request for unlocking his account can be raised from here. So select the specific user and hit submit. So yes, the request for unlocking the specific user account for John has been raised by Adela. Now what's the next obvious step? The IT administrator or the system administrator has to take a look at that specific ticket, approve of it and get the account unlocked. So switching as the administrator. So let's see if that ticket from Adela has been forwarded. From my incidents tab, quickly getting into the view, yes. So we've got the request that's raised by Adler to unlock the account of John Williams. Yes. Okay. So the best part is you have a clear picture as to who's raised the request, and not just that, for which user the request has been raised for. So here it's John Williams account that's got to be unlocked, and it's been raised by Adler. So now the administrator can quickly in one step unlock the specific AD account. And like I told you before, the application picks up the value, yes. So John Williams account selected, hit submit to get the task done. So yes, it's successfully modified. User account unlocking is done as well. Alright, so what have we discussed till now? We've got a 360-degree user provisioning done. We saw how to have a user provision not just in your Active Directory but also in Office 365 and your Exchange. Yes. And how was that possible? Because we had a smart user creation template for the IT department. Alright. We were also talking about end users raising a request for something as critical as a password reset. So the end user had raised a ticket, and it was the IT IL administrator or your technician who viewed that specific request from his instance tab, got it executed from the form context menu. Alright, we also saw how to unlock an account within a single click. We got that done as well. So the last task for the day is going to be enabling, disabling and deprovisioning, the three actions that can be done using this specific integration. Getting back to my ServiceNow module. Yes. So now I'm the administrator. There's a specific user account that I want to disable. I'll have to get into my ADManager Plus user management. All right. From that, I'll have to have an account disabled. So this gives me a provision to search for the specific user who I want to disable. Here, let me say John Williams again. Yes, I've got my account right here. Click on that. Just one step. I've selected my required user. I've keyed in his name, hit submit, and the user is going to be disabled in one go. Yes, so it says successfully modified. So let me quickly switch to ADManager Plus to see if John Williams is disabled. John Williams. All right. Searching for my user from my search. So we've got John Williams. Just a quick moment. Okay. Just a minute. Let me get into my reports and look for the right user. My naming is a little messed up right here. So the reports, I can make use of the reports module to find out the user who's been recently disabled. So searching for John. Yes, so I've got John whose account is disabled. So this has happened a while back. Yes. So how was this possible? All through this specific integration. So all I had to do was get into ServiceNow console, hit disable, select the specific user for who I wanted the disable operation to be done, searched for the user, got him in place, selected him and submitted the request, and the disable got successfully done. Alright, likewise, I can look up for another user who's disabled and have him enabled. So what are we going to do is look for a user from the AD repos to see if I can have them enabled. So let me quickly search for a user who's disabled. Okay, we've got an interesting user. So let me try and enable Anakin Skywalker. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get back into my ServiceNow module. Alright. From here, I'm trying to enable a user account that's disabled. So the username is going to be Anakin Skywalker, hitting search. Yes. Selecting Anakin and hitting submit. So there you go, we've successfully modified Anakin Skywalker and we've made his account enabled. So that's how you get all of these 6 basic tasks, starting with user creation. We saw how to make sure that we had users provisioned in a 360-degree format. We had users provisioned in your Office 365, in your Exchange, in your Google Apps, all of that from just one console, which is the ServiceNow console with an integration. All right, that's because we had the templates configured that way. All right, we then saw how to reset passwords for end users, how an end user raised a request and that got processed by the IT administrator from the instance tab, right? Then a while back I showed you how to have users disabled and enabled. The last task is going to be pretty simple, which is deleting a user again from the administrator point of view, quickly searching for a user, let's say Roger. So it's Adam Roger. So all I'll have to do is select the user and hit submit. So now I don't want Adam off my system, so I'm not submitting the request. So if you want to have a user deleted, pretty simple. Since ServiceNow and AD is integrated or linked through ADManager Plus, we are fetching the data from ADManager Plus and having it displayed right here. You can select this required user and hit submit to get the user deprovisioning done. So yes, we have come to a conclusion. Alright, so let me quickly give you an recap as to what we discussed today. We started off with a 360-degree user provisioning. We made use of a specific template that I had pre-created for the IT department, from where I had pre-configured values for the IT department specifying attributes, things like the group membership being pre-configured. Alright, I also showed you something more, which was how to get that specific template smart. We made sure that trainees who came into the organization had their group membership set right because we had the creation rules in place. Yes, we went on and saw how to do a password reset for a user from the ServiceNow console, and we also saw account unlocking, right? This was an end user raising a request, and we had the IT administrator or the IT technician who had the role assigned to him, who got it done using the incidents tab. Alright. Finally, we saw how to enable and disable user accounts, and we also saw how to deprovision accounts. So fundamentally what we've discussed is a means to have all of your 6 basic AD management tasks, the ones that you generally day in day out use using your ADManager Plus: creation, deletion, unlocking, enabling, disabling, and reset password. All of that done with this integration between ADManager Plus and ServiceNow. Yes. So thank you so much for having taken the time today. So this is the ADManager Plus and ServiceNow integration being discussed by Jay. So now I'm available at the chat window for taking all of your questions. Feel free to shoot out your questions. Let me take them one by one. And if in case you want me to explain something once again, that's not going to be a problem at all. I can have that done as well. So yes, I am getting a few questions. Let me take them one by one. So I've got a question from Jonathan asking me as to what credentials are to be used in ServiceNow. Okay, like I told during the introduction, Jonathan, pretty simple. The integration is made feasible by the domain admin credentials that have the rights in ADManager Plus. So any technician or administrator, all right, be it a technician account or the admin account, that's got access in your Active Directory to perform these basic tasks: creation, deletion, all of that. All right. If that specific account is being used in your ServiceNow console, there you go. We're good to go to get all those tasks done. I hope that answered your question. So now that the question has come up, I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. So we've logged in as the system administrator already. From the setup that's right here, you have to key in your login name and password. So basically this is going to be your gateway or your entry to get your app ServiceNow integrated with your ADManager Plus. So all the actions that take place in your Active Directory are going to be because your ServiceNow calls ADManager Plus for help, and your ADManager Plus in turn performs that specific action in your AD. I hope that answers your question, John. Yes. I've got a few more questions on chat. Let me take them. Yes, okay. Alright, so I've got another question from Steven. Steven, yes. So the question is regarding the error messages that we are talking about. Alright. So Steven asks me as to how the error messages are being prompted. Just one quick moment, Steve. I'm going to show you how. So what I was talking about during the introduction was regarding having not just the ability to do AD management tasks, but also have a clear picture as to what has gone wrong. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, Steve, I'm going to show a user provisioning and have a user provisioned into a specific template, creating a new user. ADManager Plus, user management, creating a user. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and create a user, and with a specific template that's got exchange in it. All right, at this point in time my instance does not have exchange configured, right? So if that's the case, if that's the problem that we are facing, then we'll have to have an error message that's being prompted at this, right? So that we can get back and have the issue resolved. Yes. So let me choose the template. Let's say finance department. Let me quickly create a user, James Bond. Let me have a password also set. Alright, and I'm going to hit submit. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a user with this specific template that's got exchange selected or enabled in the template, but then my instance right here has the exchange server that's not operational. So let's see what's the error message that we get. I'm hitting submit. So yes, the user has been successfully created, but then the error message states that only legacy mailboxes have been created because the exchange server connection was not being established. So this is where you have the advantage. So this is how you figure out as to what your bottleneck is. Not just get a task done, but then if in case something goes wrong, you can have that error message popped up right in front of you so that you can go fix it and get back to your task. I hope that's answered your question, Steve. Okay, I've got a question from Laurie, and Laurie asks me if there's a possibility to add more values to the user creation template that we're talking about. In this example, I showed you values for the department, and I also showed you values for the group membership being pre-populated. Yes, the question is regarding user creation templates, and Laurie asks me if there's a possibility to add more values like the department. Yes, that's definitely going to be possible. Let me quickly show you. ADManager Plus, from the AD management console right here, we are getting into user creation templates. Yes. So to create a new template, all you'll have to do is just click create new template. So Laurie, I'm doing this basically to show you how to have other attributes other than the department pre-specified, right? Say for example, I want to create a top executive template. So this template is going to be a role-based template, not just a department-based template. It's going to be a role-based template. So what I'm trying to do right here is anybody, say for example, who's getting moved into or getting promoted to be a top executive, all right? If you make use of this specific template for user creation and have values pertaining to the account tab, which is the membership being pre-specified. So since he's the top executive, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and add him to all the top level admin groups. So I can have all of this set. I can say okay. So henceforth, any user who's getting into a top level role or who's getting inducted into a top level role, you've got a new chief financial officer, say, so he's got to have access to all the critical groups. So I have a template which I can make use of to have the chief financial officer inducted without any error, because all my membership or any other attribute for that matter is pre-specified rightly, and just within one click I can have that specific user provisioned with the right set of attributes pre-configured. So that's as regards to the question that was asked. There's something more that can be done as well, right? Not just the layout view, from the creation rules that we were talking about, you can add multiple rules as a matter of fact. So you have different cases. Let me quickly show you how to get that done. So I can add a condition for a specific department. So I have a top level executive and I want to make sure that the department is specified rightly. So here, say I have a top level executive who is getting inducted into the finance department. I can specify values pertaining to the organizational unit of which he's got to be a part of, right? So I can say the container as finance department and hit OK. Likewise, I need not necessarily stop right here. I can add more values and I can actually add another condition altogether. Clicking on add rule gives me provision to add another condition. So with the same top level executive template where certain attributes are pre-specified, right? I can have conditions in place for department specific values to be pre-specified. So if he is going to be, if this specific top level executive is going to be a part of the HR department, he's got to have membership into different set of groups, or he's got to have his organization unit set as something else. So you can have any of these attributes configured based on this specific condition. Here, I'm going to say the condition as human resource, the HR department, right? So what I'm basically trying to do right here is this template is not just going to give a specific user access to a specific set of groups. From the layout view, what I did was I had added these top level administrator groups into his member of, all right? Then what I did was I got into the creation rules and made this smart. So any user who's going to get provisioned as the top level executive is going to have membership into those groups, and when this specific condition is met, all right, they're going to have their organizational unit set as this. So with one template for one specific category of role, top executive roles, I've got multiple departments or multiple conditions set. Okay. So that's one use case. Thanks for the question. I'm getting a lot of questions and I'm trying to take most of them through the chat. So for those of you who want a copy of today's webinar, a recording can be emailed to you. All you'll have to do is just drop me a message in the chat right now. And if you want to grab a copy of the presentation, the slide deck, you can do that as well. That's available from the hands out section. Thank you once again for the great participation, guys. It was an interesting session today. Thanks for all the questions. So if you have further queries pertaining to today's webinar or ADManager Plus in general, what you can do is you can make use of this specific email ID, support@admanager.com, right, and have us your questions sent, right? We'll have our support team answering your questions, all right? Thank you so much once again. You all have a great day.